Alejandro Garnacho obviously got taken off when Patrick Dorgu got that red card, and you can see his reaction to the game. Now, Amorim has come out and said that he will talk with Garnacho about the decision. Now, there is an angle from the stands when Garnacho is coming off that he did signal to the bench that he's going to change his shirt. Now, it doesn't look like a good look. I don't know if he was back on the bench for Manchester United in that second half, but again, there's always been an issue with Garnacho's attitude. I can understand, I can sympathise with him. I would be pretty annoyed if I did get taken off. I think Haaland's performance up to that time was woeful. I think he should have been taken off instead of Garnacho, to be honest with you. But you have to respect the manager's decision. And I think taking off Garnacho would be frustrating for him. I think I can sympathise with Garnacho because, as I said, Haaland wasn't doing anything. I think in a game where we're probably going to be hitting him on the counter-attack, we needed that pace. And I've seen a lot of people say Haaland is a striker, he's playing up the centre, so he is occupying a few players. But I think if you could have just shifted Garnacho up to the forward position and just utilised him on the counter-attack. I think with Garnacho, again, that attitude's always been an issue, and a lot of Manchester United fans are frustrated with him. I think there is going to be a fallout. Amorim's talked about the player's attitude and said he would speak Garnacho. He said, talking about potentially comparing it with the Rashford situation. It is two totally different scenarios, but again, this isn't the first sort of issue Garnacho's had with his attitude, and that's always been the biggest thing. I think there's no doubt he's a talented player, and probably should and will start the game on Sunday against Fulham. But again, there's a lot of concern around that attitude problem at Manchester United. As I said, the talent's there. I think he had a pretty decent game when he was on the pitch, and he is trying to adapt to a new position. But again, the attitude from some players is just not good enough. I think you have to respect the manager's decision. He did look pretty frustrated when he came off. He went straight down the tunnel. I think he did like having a handshake or something with Amorim just before going down the tunnel. And I don't know, let me know your thoughts. What do you think on on Garnacho? Do you think he should be sold? Obviously, there's a lot of potential exit talks in January. He has stayed at the football club. And again, he's still a young player. And I think this has to be learned and coached into him. The attitude is becoming a huge problem for Manchester United and for him at this current moment. There's a fallout with the manager. But I think we're in a point now where we need all the players we can get. I mean, if Garnacho, I don't think it will be a disciplinary. I think he'd just chat to him and explain why it was his decision to take him off. But if he is missing for some games, you look at all we have is Xerxes, Haaland, and that's it. Because Ahmad's out injured. And we're basically screwed. So we do need Garnacho. We need all the players we can get in that attacking department at the moment. And I think with him acting that way, it doesn't look like a good sort of look on the Manchester United fans at the moment, but I think he will bounce back. He's a very talented player. It was a game which ultimately Manchester United won. I mean, it doesn't help when he's putting pictures with just his head in his hands on social media. A lot of fans are going to criticise him, and he has done that before, liking tweets about, I think it was about Ten Hag. But again, I think there is a player there in Garnacho. He's had a fallout with the manager. I think they will resolve the issue. Amorim did say he'll talk about it in the next press conference, which I believe is on Friday for the Fulham game. So we see what he said about that. He would have talked to him by then, and hopefully they would have resolved all the issues they would have had, because we can't have another manager player fallout Manchester United because we're so thin on the ice. As I said, I can understand both views. You have to take off a player, and I think Garnacho was probably the one that Amorim, or he did think, would be the most necessary player to come off. I think Xerxes at that time, he was in the game, but again, he could have potentially get him off. Haaland for me was the biggest one that I would have taken off instead. But listen, that decision has been made. It is a fallout. He said, I'll speak with him. And again, it's just not a nice situation for the club to be in. Just another issue among all that we have. We've got players on loans. Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, all on loan. I think we have Ahmad's out injured. Garnacho, Haaland and Xerxes, the remaining three players that we have left for those inside 10s. We've got Manu out, who's looking to occupy that position. He's going to be out for a long time. I think it just doesn't help us to have these sorts of manager-player fallouts. But again, we continue, we move from here. That was the latest on Alejandro Garnacho. I think it was, what was it, the 43rd minute he came off. And I think he did get applauded off, but he just looked very, very frustrated. And his head down and just went into the changing room. Don't know if he came back out or not. But again, the most important thing was getting the win. And I think Garnacho just doesn't help himself by putting needless posts on social media, just voicing his frustration. It wasn't needed. And yeah, let's see what happens. But yeah, very frustrating. It's a huge fallout, Amorim and Garnacho. I don't think there's anything that's going on. I think it will just be a simple chat. But yeah, let's see.